What's up, you guys? Welcome back to... Oh no, my god, what fruits are you? What fruits? Hey, what's up, my shriveled up little raisins? This is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Daily Grind, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Now, in yesterday's video, where I went ahead and reviewed the 2 new Takelu skin bundles, I'll go ahead and leave a link up in the corner for that, just in case you missed it. There was a phrase that I tended to use over and over again, which was, I can't wait for this weapon to be primed. So I figured, why not go ahead and compile a list of the weapons that I want to be primed the most, and what I would have done to them. Now, this discussion doesn't necessarily need to happen with Warframes, mainly because of the fact that we have a pretty solid timeline as to how they're released. It's every 3 months, it's male, male, female, female, and they tend to be released in historical release order. Now, of course, that does get jumbled every now and then, but it doesn't stray too far from that. Unlike what we have seen recently with the Z-Huge, aka the Chuge Prime, see, I can actually say it, versus the Attica not getting primed. So I figured since all of the balls are up in the air, we might as well go ahead and reach for the one that we want most and gild that bitch, right? So let's go ahead and jump into, I think it's 8. I don't know why I didn't round it up to 10 or bring it down to 5, but listen, this is the world we live in these days, right? The 8 weapons that I want primed the most. And feel free to follow along, maybe compile your own list of 8. It's a weird number, but just hang in there with me. So the first weapon, and the reason that this is primary on the list, is mainly because of the fact that not only do I want this weapon to be primed a whole lot, but I feel like it's got a good solid chance of getting primed with the next female prime, which I'm assuming is going to be Avara. Now, the Vazha Prime is a silent submachine gun, and not only is it fucking gorgeous, but it's actually pretty goddamn effective. So as you can see right here, it does have a nice critical chance to it. Its status chance kind of sucks. So what I was gonna say is, you know what? Let's go ahead and bump up its supplemental stats. Maybe they don't really need to fuck around with its base damage too much. However, a nice little IPS shift and push it into slash would be kind of nice, because listen, crit and status always goes quite well with slash. In addition to that, I would have its magazine size increased and maybe just a little bit of punch through, but really at the end of the day, just make it a prettier version of itself because it's already fucking gorgeous. And just having this glorious golden prime in our hands that is silent and we can mow through enemies with makes me all the much more happier. The next one on the list is another pretty weapon. And maybe I just have like a gravitation to all of these weapons that I think are gorgeous, that I just want them to make gorgeouser. Yes, I said that word very slowly and I enunciated it a lot because of the fact that I know that people don't like it when I make up words, but I'm making up words. Now, the Sonora, oh my god, tell me that the Sonora would not look absolutely beautiful as a goddamn prime. I mean, just think of that entire barrel right there being a metallic gold. Whew, double metallic it up too, I'm all about it. But what I would have them upgrade with the Sonora Prime is I would actually have them give the primary a little bit of a bump to its status, because, you know, automatic weapons, they do really, really well with applying a lot of status at once, and having a 28% critical chance and maybe a 26% or a 28% status chance would get it to a point where it would just be able to like barrel through enemies. Now, for the charge attack that you guys know that Sonora has, you can already see that it's got a high critical chance attached to it. So I was thinking, you know, you could boost its status chance, all of that, but really at the end of the day, let's make this interesting. Why don't we go ahead and increase the charge rate on it so it's a lot faster and give it an area of effect explosion? I'm just saying, why not have an area of effect explosion? Let's make it a little bit more interesting. I didn't spend all of my creative points in the Vazha. I was like, just give that one a stat boost because I want the Sonora to do something really, really cool with its secondary. So let the actual impact itself be the standard one where you get all of that critical damage, then have the secondary effect do an area of effect explosion. Really, really think that would be a cool addition. Now, of course, I like me some mechanics, so I had to get down with a little bit of a juicy one as well that we have not yet seen. I don't think that we've actually seen it on another weapon, but you cannot tell me that the Corinth Prime would not be absolutely mind-blowingly freaking savage. Really, I just thought up the concept for what I wanted on its secondary. I really didn't even think about its primary, but as you can see, it does have a high critical chance. But I'm thinking, why not just go lean in heavy into that critical chance? Let this be the Hunter's munition weapon that it already is and embrace that. And, you know, maybe fuck off with everything else. Maybe just shift its IPS so that it's mainly slash, or give it a bump in its base damage. But how about replacing its air burst? Now, I know a lot of people love its air burst, but I'm thinking, what if its air burst was a tether mine? I'm just saying, instead of, like, you know, being that big explosive area of effect that you kind of have to aim at 20 meters away at, or just not having anything go off, why not have a fucking tether mine that you could just throw down, grab enemies, and then have an explosion go off, and then be able to mow the rest down with the shotgun? Or it doesn't even necessarily need to be like a big area of effect explosion that knocks enemies away. What if it's just a tether mine that when it grapples them, it ends up dealing the damage, and then you can pick them off with the shotgun? And then put in a little bit. Does this have an 8 punch through? Give this an 8 punch through if that's what you're gonna do, because I think that that would be an awesome combo. It's almost kind of like a Huntsmaster kind of weapon. You know, you're like trapping them in the little area, and then you can go like boom, boom, boom. And of course, making this prime, it's already gorgeous on its own. Like, legitimately, I feel like it's very close to looking prime even in its current state, but you know that they would add some sort of like metallic cage around it, maybe add a little lion's head to it. Listen, we are in Leo season, why the hell not? And for those of you guys who don't know, the Corinth does have lion roars built in to its audio shots. Just putting that out there into the universe. Listen, just follow the trend. So those are the three primaries that I wanted to go ahead and have prime. The next one, as you can see right here, is a secondary, and it is the Axomati. Now, the big reason that I wanted the Axomati primed is, tell me that the little front bit isn't absolutely freaking gorgeous, and the way that it's got the kind of like ammo sticking out down there is just begging for just a little bit more gold. In fact, when I was customizing it, I was shocked to see how not very customizable it is. So maybe, you know, prime its color mapping too, because I would appreciate that very much. Regardless, it is a very beautiful weapon. And as you can see, it is heavy on the critical chance and critical multiplier, but the place that it really lacks is a status. So all I would really do is bump up the status chance on this. I would most likely increase the magazine size because the reload speed is already really, really low. I would increase the accuracy, and then maybe add a little bit of punch through, because you are going to be bowing down enemies, and it would just be fantastic to have that added in. But can we also get like a prime muzzle flash that maybe like looks a little bit like, you know how it's got like little wings on the front? We don't get details like that when it comes to a lot of weapons. So a primed muzzle flash, why can't we make it happen? Now, the next weapon that I wanted to throw out there was also inspired by the Takelu collection, and this is the Ak Magnus. Now, the Ak Magnus, for those of you guys who have not tried it, maybe you're a little bit newer, is an OG weapon. This is a fucking fantastic weapon in its current state, but there are definitely a couple features that I think could use some priming on the Ak Magnus. Number one, I would boost its accuracy. I mean, 11.1 isn't bad, but for a semi-automatic, is it semi-automatic? Yes, because I always get those two mixed up sometimes and people get mad at me. But it is a semi-automatic weapon, so a little bit more accuracy would be nice. But in addition to that, I would actually reduce its reload speed. I would kill any, not that it has much recoil, but, you know, I'd like to keep its recoil down. But like a lot of little bonuses to its supplementals, and not its standard supplementals. But of course, in addition to that, I would amp up its critical multiplier. It's got a nice critical chance of 22%, but that critical multiplier, just a little juiciness added onto it would make me very, very happy. And I would also increase its fire rate. So it's a lot of side stuff and not necessarily main stuff. Its base damage isn't getting pumped up anymore. It's just making it a little bit more usable. Because I don't know, for me, 6.17 is a little bit slow. It's not super slow, but I'd like it to be a little bit faster personally. But that, in addition to its absolutely gorgeous, God, this stance, this damn Korra stance, there's too much, like, I can't get it. But priming this, a lot of metallics all over the place on this weapon would be absolutely gorgeous, and you cannot deny that. Now, moving on to melee weapons. Yo, the Gunsen. We had this come out yesterday, and I'm a fan of fans. You know that I am, and I just rhymed because I'm the man. Regardless, this weapon, I would love to see primed because it's already really, really gorgeous as it is, and they did tease an Orokin style looking fan in one of their old dev streams. So I'm hoping to see that actually comes into fruition, and maybe we get a fan version of this because, or a primed version of this, because it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, when it comes to its base stats, really, I would just bump up its critical chance, and maybe this is something that I've asked for way too many times and people are tired of hearing me say it, but just let us throw the fan. Please just let us throw the fan. Just a little charge attack, let us throw the fan, and let that be it. Just a little critical bump, maybe like get rid of the impact and puncture, like clear out its IPS and just make it pure slash, and then just a little bit of crit, like even if it's just like 24% critical chance, I'd be happy with that. I would take that, and then just let us throw it, and have a guaranteed slash proc when we throw it, similar to the Glaive Prime, please. I'm a simple man, that's all I want. Next up is, where are you? Something that I know a lot of you guys really, really like. I personally don't like it, but I feel like we need it because this weapon type has not been revisited in quite a long time, which is, of course, the Lassero. This is the blade and whip weapon. Can I get a good shot of this or no? Does it not want to be seen? I mean, we could just look at it real quick here. But this is begging to be primed. To me personally, it's a good base looking weapon, but I think it could use a little bit more of a flourish to it, because right now it just kind of looks like a weird bird head that's upside down. I know a lot of people like make jokes about this being the scissor, but hey, listen, scissor prime, why not? Let's give some love to the lesbians out there. I know lesbians don't actually scissor, it's just a joke, calm down. But really, the thing about this one is we've seen something happen recently where they've been giving weapons IPS that didn't necessarily have IPS before. So I'm thinking, Lassero, why not give it a little bit of the IPS treatment, lean it a little bit heavy into slash, because this is a status-based weapon. And then the one thing I really want to beg for this weapon is increase its attack speed, because it just feels so low. I get it, you don't want this to be a critical weapon, fine. It doesn't need to be a critical weapon, just give it some IPS so that we can go ahead and, you know, give it some love with condition overload, let it really shine, and then give it more attack speed so that we can apply a lot of statuses, get a lot of benefit off of condition overload, and just have a fucking good time. Maybe have a cool mechanic. You know how you can actually launch the little end and drag enemies to you? Maybe have that be like a guaranteed crit, or let that give us a critical boost for a time being or something, some little mechanic like that. Regardless, I would love to see the Lassero get primed, just because of the fact that this weapon series set type is not getting enough love as it is. So a little bit of gold thrown on that would be quite juicy. Now, the last one is, as you guys know, I like pretty things, so I picked one of the prettiest motherfucking melee weapons there is, and I'm just thinking, it's already beautiful. How, like, I'm scared that if they make a prime version of this, they're gonna make it uglier than it is, which would be a sin, but the Guan. Oh, bitch, this looks like Tennogen, it looks so good. Bitch. Like, it's just cuss words that are coming out of my head because it is literally gorgeous. This is by far, I want to say it, I'm going to look through real quick. I believe this to be the most gorgeous melee weapon that we have. This is like my freaking aesthetic. Maybe the Destreza and the Glaive Prime could like match up to it, but of course those are pretty in very different ways. To me, the Guan is just eleganza, extravaganza, oh my god, right? It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. So having a primed variant of this would be very, very juicy. But what I would do for this is I would actually give it more range, because that's not something that we see very often. The last time we saw a primed weapon with a good amount of range on it would be the Orthos Prime. So why couldn't this be like the Orthos Prime's bigger brother, sister, beautiful in-betweener, whatever it wants to be? So that's something that I would definitely like to see added. Then I would have more status and more attack speed, because the status is quite low on this. Now, if they did want to lean heavy into into crit, they could, but I mean, help a baby out. Like, you got a slash based weapon and you're not gonna give it a little bit of status. Give it a status bump, balance it out. I mean, even if all you do is a little bit of range and bump its status chance up by 20%, I would be happy, and I would have nothing more to say about it. But a little attack speed would make me happy as well. So those are the weapons that I want to see primed the most. Go ahead and leave your list down in the comments below. Let me know if we match up anywhere. Also, let me know if you think that there are any prettier melee weapons than the Guan, at least base melee weapons, you know, because they do a good job with the primes, but I think that this is one of the most beautiful base melee weapons out there. Also, let me know if there are any cool primed features that you would want to see, because we do have very interesting prime weapons like the Pirhana Prime, where you're able to make a spectral freaking gun. Like, where did that come from, right? Or the Ballistica Prime, where you can make ghosts of your enemies. I mean, wouldn't it be dope if you're able to, like, kill an enemy with the Guan and just make a whole fleet of enemies that were ghosts and worked on your behalf? Just putting that out there. Regardless, that about does it for me for now. Leave your feelings down in the comments below. Make sure to put on some SPF, or you will turn out to be a shriveled out little raisin. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.